I'm morning 20 before 9. Time to check in on your money and find out what's going on with it up in Wall Street. Phillip Statler in his office is now in the palatial studio complex at Statler Financial Services in downtown Sebring. Phillip, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Dave. Hey, I'm doing well today. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. It's Friday. Things got to be good because it doesn't have enough time to have anything else go wrong this week. That seems like the best excuse I can muster.
Sounds good. Sounds good. It's one of those things today.
I hear you. Hey, yesterday was one of those interesting days. You and I were not feeling overly good about the likelihood of another green day, but we made it 5 in a row. Dow up 123, NASDAQ up 29, Standard & Poor's up 12. Everything pretty much around about the 0.5% mark. That has to feel good for investors. 5 wins in a row after the kind of December we had.
I think you're right, Dave. It's, I think that's the first time since, I think September that we've had 5 up days in a row.
I was thinking that it might be even longer than September, but then again, it's felt like forever for the last 45 days or so, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. And when I think about it, it's like we started out, it looked pretty dismal and it bounced around, and came back to the positive, which, if you look back over the last, I don't know, a couple months, it surprises the other way a couple times.
Absolutely. I mean, we've had days in which we've been going in with the futures on the Dow up in 3 digits, and then I look at it at the end of the day and say, how in the heck did we lose 500 points? Well, yesterday we were down 3 digits on the Dow to start the day, and we ended up. It starts making you wonder whether the futures market has predictability at all anymore.
Yeah, well, that's true. But we've seen a lot of ups and downs, and I don't think that today is going to be any different. We talk about how inflation is one of the things that we kind of gauge, and the market has kind of improved a little bit since I started watching it this morning. Still in the red a little bit this morning, but it's cut its losses probably in half from 2 hours ago.
I got to believe some of that is a positive inflation report out of the government. I know it was about what the market's expected, but it's always when it gets confirmed, that's good stuff. 12-month read on consumer inflation, 1.9%. The actual overall CPI last month actually declined by 0.1%, which kind of takes inflation off the table as far as the Fed's reserve concerned, right?
Yeah, it does. And so if we look at CPI, it came in as both CPI and core CPI both came in as expected. Now, it is the first time, I think they said in 9 months, that we've seen a decline because it was down by 0.1%, which that was what was expected. But as the first time to drop in about 9 months.
And if it was showing a trend, it'd be something of concern. But on a month-long data point, it just basically limits us to under 2% inflation across a full year, which ain't half bad. Combine it up with that one other report that kind of surprised us coming in because it wasn't on your calendar or mine, but the government released inflation-adjusted U.S. wages, and they showed a 0.5% increase last month. Oh, lower inflation and an increase in wages. Now, that should bear well for consumer goods and discretionary income stocks over the next couple of months.
Well, you would think so, but again, that's one data point, and it's one of those things that's definitely needed is to see wage growth a little bit going forward, and that seems to be happening because of the job market, right? We've got full employment, so if you want to hire good people, you've got to bump up the wages.
And that's kind of the way they expect full employment to boost the wages up. Labor is a supply and demand proposition like anything. We were joking about how 15 odd years ago when we had our last boom, McDonald's was offering $10 an hour to 401k in order to get people to flip burgers. It brings everything up. That rising tide floats all ships principle is true.
Well, that's true. Because let's face it, McDonald's and those guys, they've got to have workers too. And so if wages are increasing, then their wages have to increase too in order just to hire people.
Absolutely. The market really sets a minimum wage when you look at it from that standpoint. Not a lot of actual quarterly reports out. It's too early for the meat of earnings season, but we had some re-ratings from the big brokerage houses, and one of the big ones that caught my eye in terms of going from I guess buy two you gotta buy is Netflix, and they're really benefiting from that this morning.
Yeah, they did. They got a hike from a couple of different brokerage firms, from neutral to buy, from just a buy to a strong buy. So Netflix is getting a lot of positive upgrades this morning, and they finished yesterday up 1.5%, and right now they're expected to open up getting close to 2% now.
We start looking at the notion of $331 a share for a company that wasn't even in existence 5 years ago. That's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, when you start to think about it.
Got some other changes that we ought to know about this morning.
Well, I don't have much. A couple of things that caught my attention today was Starbucks and Apple. In regards to China, one of the headlines said Starbucks is the next company to start to feel some of the impact from China's slowing economy. I thought that was kind of interesting. And then Apple is slashing the price of their iPhones over in China. I wish they'd do that here.
Yeah, you paused for a second. I thought you were going to say over here, and I went, ooh, no, they're doing it in China. Okay. Hey, nothing like a clearance sale to get things moving, even when the economy slows down a bit, right?
That's right. You think about, if you want to sell more widgets, you got to reduce the price, and then more people will buy them.
Understood. The Starbucks thing did kind of surprise me a little bit. I didn't realize they were that big a presence in China, but I guess they are, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They've done a pretty good job of making some inroads into China, and so that's definitely not a need. It's a want. So when the economic times and strides start to change, then they get affected by that.
Same principle, whether it's command and control or a free market economy, discretionary income purchases go down first when the economy gets soft.
That's right. They do. Those are the first things to go.
Understood. Well, setting the table once again for yesterday, it was an up day on Wall Street, surprisingly so, which I emphasize again because, well, it looks like it could be another reversal day like yesterday for us on Wall Street. 45 minutes before we open, Phillip, what did the ink look like this morning so far?
Well, like I indicated earlier, we are trading down today, but we've had some improvement since the inflation and CPI number came out. Right now, we've got the Dow down 58, the S&P 500 down 7.25, Nasdaq's down 25. Oil is down from where it closed yesterday, 37 cents a barrel, about 0.7%, but it's still up over 50. It's at $52.22 a barrel. And then the 10-year Treasury has dropped down below 2.7%.
Ooh. My delayed quote had it at 2.71. That's interesting. We're back to buying equities. We're back to buying T-bills instead of equities for a day. That's intriguing.
Yeah, it really is. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that kind of plays out today.
Understood. Looking overseas in the process, Asia almost uniformly up this morning. Japan and Chinese markets all up. Europe going down again today as they get halfway through their trading day. Phillip, I need to stabilize my retirement fund, and I'll bet you got advice for me. How would I find you on the phone?
Give us a call at 863-382-0037. You can also follow us online at our website, statlerfinancial.com, and then join us every weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show on your sister station, News Talk 730, noon on Saturdays, 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings.
Always important information in a less cluttered setting and a long-form opportunity to talk about it in depth. Of course, back here on Monday morning here on Light FM as well, right?
That's right, man. We'll talk to you. You have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you Monday.
You too, sir. Have a great weekend. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.
Stop everything you're